Look, flatbed for me is like that one ex in your life that drove you absolutely insane and absolutely crazy, and she got on your nerves, or he got on your nerves a majority of the time, but yet you still find yourself picking up your phone. Hey, can I come back over? That's flatbed for me. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Happy New Year. It's January 22nd, 2023. As you see outside, let me see if I can get the focus. It's currently white outside. It's cold outside, but we got the beautiful, ever so lovely Miss Ellie Mae. She's mad because she wants to go outside. She's finally gotten over her fear of the snow, which is awesome. You're like, hey, Kep, you got some snow in your beard? No, I don't. I'm just getting gray and I'm sad about it. All right. But it is what it is. Again, Happy New Year. I hope y'all are doing well. So what's today's video all about? You clicked on the title, you silly goose. But today's video is going to be all about kind of a 2022 review. I took my pay stub, my last pay stub of 2022. We're going to kind of discuss everything. Hang on, my voice is getting hoarse. All right, so we're going to take the pay stub for 2022, kind of go over all the numbers. Obviously, money talks in this industry. Money talks in every industry, all right? But that's what we're going to be talking about today, and then we're going to kind of continue into 2023, sorry. Kind of my goals, my plans. Do I plan on staying with Melton? Do I plan on going elsewhere? Do I plan on even getting out of the trucking company or trucking world, period? So stay tuned. We're going to discuss all that. So 2022, let's talk about it. We're going to talk about our money here. I'm trying to make this short. These reviews kind of get lengthy. I'm long-winded. I like to talk. Anywho, so for those who don't know, 2022, got my CDL in February, came to Melton in March. Why did I choose Melton? Well, they were competitive in their pay for, new drivers right out of school. They weren't the top, but they were competitive. And what set them aside for me personally was I got to bring, where's she? There she is. I got to bring her with me. All right. I was looking at Maverick. I was looking at TMC. I was looking at some other folks. I think Maverick was actually the highest paying right out of CDL school, but they didn't allow pets. So that knocked them off the list because she is my number one priority when I'm out here on the road. So that's why I chose Melton. Am I happy with that choice? Now look, this answer is a subjective answer. Everybody has their own wants. Everybody has their own needs. Everybody has their own desires. All right. Was Melton worth it? 100% yes. They've been fantastic for a training company. The training I got in orientation was great. Look, I'm not saying that they teach you everything you need to know, because they don't. I mean, they can only teach you so much. Flatbedding. Look, actually, you know what? Here's a clip. Look, flatbed for me is like that one ex in your life that drove you absolutely insane and absolutely crazy, and she got on your nerves, or he got on your nerves a majority of the time, but yet you still find yourself picking up your phone. Hey, can I come back over? That's flatbed for me. Okay, so that's flatbedding, right? Anyway, so my first year's been nothing. And again, I'm only 10 months in. Actually, today is literally my 10-month anniversary. It's been nothing short of a large learning curve. All right. So with that being said, Melton's been phenomenal. Their company atmosphere is great. Any issues I've had have been addressed. I've talked to anybody from just my DM all the way up to like presidents, vice presidents, etc. They've been wonderful. If you ever have issues, it's super easy to get it, at least talk to somebody about it. And coming from a military background, my first 2 months I had an issue. And I posted, we have a Melton Facebook page. I posted it in the page, and literally one of the higher ups in the company said, "Hey, call me." And she put her number, her office number, not her personal number, but her office number in the post. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm essentially talking to like, an 0405, if for those military folks. Hopefully that makes sense. Like, but from a brand new, think of me as like an E1, right? Talking to an 04, right, of a command. I'm like, dang, like that, like it blew my mind. And one of the biggest things that for me that just it spoke volumes is, so whenever I was in orientation, I was in my last week of training or orientation. I wasn't on my trainer truck yet, but Ellie jumped off. She was at my friend's house. She jumped off the back step and hurt her knee, and we thought she was going to need surgery. And Melton, and this is a shout out to the training department, safety department, they were going to work with me on, hey, because I was like, hey, I may need to leave, I'd like to come back, but I may need to leave. And they were willing to work with me. Fortunately, she didn't end up needing surgery. So for me, Melton, that speaks volume. That's one of the reasons I haven't left yet. Is the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Yeah, they may pay more, but are they going to treat you like dog poo? So 100% I would recommend Melton to anybody out there that is brand new to the industry and wanting to get in flatbed. So let's talk numbers. All right, everybody likes numbers. So 2022, all right, again, I started March 22nd. I got my truck April 22nd. All right, so my total, and for those who don't know, we get a per diem plan. It's 14 cents off your base pay. So I started at 52 cents a mile. At 6 months, that bumped up to 53 cents a mile. So I grossed $40,019. Excuse me. And I made $10,112 per diem for a total compensation of $50,132. So I made 50 grand in essentially 40 weeks or 9 months. So, not bad by any means. Not great, but not bad, right? It's a decent wage. Again, this is all subjective. Everybody has their own financial, responsibilities that, they must, whatever your financial needs are, they're probably different than mine, as mine are different than yours, most of the time. So, well, Kep, what did you bring home? What did you see in your bank account, right? So for those 9 months, I did $39,540. So that's what I brought home. I drove a total of 72,236 miles. So again, I'm gonna try to put a screenshot here so y'all know I'm not lying. Or I'm not good with technology, so we'll try to figure something out. Anywho, so essentially I got my truck April 22nd. So from April 22nd to January 1st is 36 weeks and 2 days. I took roughly 5 weeks of home time during that 5 weeks of home time during that time frame. So I actually only drove this truck 31 weeks out of the year. So let's talk. I've got some numbers here for like averages and whatnot. So if you take my total compensation of 50,132, all right, and you divide that by my total miles driven, for a total compensation, made 69 cents per mile. So, take that for what it's worth. You're like, well, how's that so much more than your base? Or hang on. So my net was 39,540. Divide that by your total miles. So I net 55 cents per mile. And you're like, well, how's that more than your base pay? Well, your base pay is only your base pay, right? You get load pay. You get stop pay if you have a multi-stop. You get layover pay. You get detention pay. You get breakdown pay. Like all these additional pay options, obviously those are going to go into your total compensation. 14 cents of the base pay is, per diem, so that's non-taxed. Everything else is taxed. But when it's all said and done, that's 55 cents per mile. Now you got to think, well, my first month I didn't drive. I didn't drive anything in my, your trainer truck, etc. But that's not included in your 72,000 miles, right? So if you take off that first month of driving, plus there was a $5,000 bonus, that net is probably going to be around 52 or 53 cents a mile, right? So keep that in mind, which also keep that in mind for this next part. So I drove a total of 31 weeks, give or take a few days here or there. I couldn't get it to the exact weeks, but for my total weeks, I averaged 2,330 miles per week. And then that equates to $1,275 per week. So again, take off the bonus, take off the first month of training, and that's going to be somewhere around $1,200. Around there, bring home in your bank account a week. So, $1,200 a week. For me, it meets my needs. Now, I can be greedy and everybody would like more money. But when it comes down to it, if you tell the average person, hey, we're going to give you a job and you're going to do this kind of service and we're going to give you $1,200 a week, most people would be happy. Again, this is all subjective. For me, it's been great for my first year. So that's 2022 in a nutshell. So Kev, what's going on? What are you doing in 2023, brother? What's the plan? Well, right, let's find out. 2023, what are we going to do? We staying in Melton. We're going to become a trainer. We're going to get out of trucking. What's the plan? Honestly, y'all, I have no clue yet. Man, the grass isn't always greener, y'all. And personally, I'm a guy who I'm always chasing more. I'm always wanting to be better. I want to become a better driver. I want better opportunities. And with knowing that, looking at Melton from a long-term perspective, I'm always going to drive flat skateboards, which is just your regular flatbed, for those who don't know, or I'm going to drive step decks, right? There's no career advancement here at Melton. You're not going to learn how to drive low boys. You're not going to learn how to drive RDNs or, heavy haul, or, we got OD loads every now and then. But there's no advancement. You're going to drive the same stuff and that's going to be it, right? And for some people, that's fantastic. It's a steady job, right? You have job security. I believe I read, again, I'm not 100% sure, I'm like 90% sure, but I read that I don't think Melton laid off a single driver during COVID, which that speaks volumes, right? It's huge. But for me, look, I like to grow. I like professional development. And granted, look, I'm in my first year. Like, I still have a lot to learn, but looking at it from a long-term perspective, I'm like, well, do I stay at Melton just to get a little bit more experience and then jump ship to somewhere else that offers that career progression? Or do I just get to another, because there's other companies out there that with a year of experience, they'll take you and then, they offer that career advancement, right? So then it becomes weighing, well, now the grass isn't always greener, but do I at least go taste that pasture over there, or do I stay here, right? So I have some decisions to be made in that aspect. There are great companies out there, but I've been treated so well here at Melton, and that has to speak for something, right? The other issue I have here with staying is the pay scale after your first year. It isn't really competitive, man. And you look at it in terms of like a 1 or 2 cents better here or there. I'm talking like 4 or 5 cents better, right? And over the grand scheme of things, right, if you look at it, 5 cents a mile on an average of 100,000 miles a year, well, guess what? That's $5,000. What's five? Please don't take this, what I'm about to say, like in a snobby way, but what is $5,000, right? And so now it's like, well, I don't know. Like, is it worth switching up for maybe $5,000 more a year, right? Which is going to equate to like what, $50 a week, roughly, $100 a week. Sorry. I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. But there's other incentives in terms of those career progressions, in terms of better home times. Yeah, at Melton, we earn a day a week here. Now we have a program called Road Warrior program, which if you stay out 3 consecutive weeks, you earn an additional day of home time, or you can cash that day in for $200. So there's that, but that's not a permanent program. So there's other companies out there where if you work a week, you get a day and a half or 2 days off, right? So how much is that worth, right? So all these little tidbits of information, right, they add up, and everything's so subjective here. But those are my biggest concerns, right? But when it comes down to it, if I could find something that I'm averaging roughly $1,500 a week, and I still get the home time I want, I'd be content with not so much career progression. So that's kind of my take on Melton. I was at the mothership there in Tulsa a couple weeks ago, and the training department is like, hey, like, you're coming up on your 1 year mark. Do you want to become a trainer? Look here, y'all. I enjoy training, but there's so much stuff I don't know still. And so I'm really iffy on that. Plus, like, the box is small, man. I'm not sure how I feel about living with somebody. I wouldn't be able to bring Ellie with me, because like this is her seat right there, right? That's where she sits when we're on the road, and so I'd have to give that up. And I'm not sure I'm willing to do that. So, you know, they try to entice you. Like, the money for training is great, but if you're only getting into training for just the money, like, that's not the right move, right? Like, you should have the desire to want to help and train and teach new drivers on how to be safe out here on the roads, because it's a lot different than van, man. You know, you mess up your securement, you're potentially, you know, risking the safety of yourself or other, you know, drivers around you. I could be driving next to your grandma, right? And say somebody's strap breaks off, and you know what? Flatbed is, I think people get so used to doing it day in, day out, that they get complacent. And right, and for those who know the saying, complacency kills. You can't get complacent in flatbed, man. You have to be 100% every time. And so there's a lot to that. And then it comes to the point where it's like, well, do I go look at reefer? I got a buddy that drives tanker that wants me to come over that way. You know, there's just options, right? So I don't know what professionally I'm gonna do for 2023 yet. I'm leaning towards leaving Melton and at least going and look at another pasture. Now, it may not be greener, and I may be like, hey, can I get my old job back, please? Or it might be like, hey, I love this new job, right? So you never know until you try it, right? But long-term wise, the pay structure at Melton's is kind of like, it's not bad. It's not bad by any means, but it's just like, I'm going to be doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. So I got to figure out if I'm okay with that complacency, again, in terms of no career progression, or if it's going to be worth leaving a company that I know has an amazing atmosphere and takes care of their drivers, to chase career progression or not. So I have to decide that within the next couple months. But for now, I'm going to be here at Melton and, you know, just driving this big blue girl around. So other than that, y'all, 2023 for me, I plan on doing at least one YouTube video a month to start. I'm going to try to get better. I do a lot of stuff on TikTok, so if you want that, I'll link that I'll link that in the bio below, or the whatever below. But if you have any questions in terms of Melton or flatbed or whatever, just drop your questions below. I try to do a good job about responding to everybody. I'm still a real small creator, so you know, comments don't just blow up or anything. So I'm pretty good about responding. But anyway, Happy New Year, y'all. I tried to make this real short, but I failed at that. So if you're still here watching, I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below. If you drive, let me know your favorite truck stop in America so I can add it to my list. Other than that, y'all have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next one.